Hey y'all, welcome to My Way Mysteries, the channel that brings you interdimensional content, which means that the readings are from a broad and expansive point of view, as they are channeled through vast dimensions of space and time, and therefore should resonate with you guys whenever you come across them. So I'm going to do another Draconian reading today because I'm kind of having fun with those. Like, I'm liking the energy, I'm liking the information that comes through. So I want you to understand Draconian energy as kind of like that embodiment energy, basically. Like when you get into that frequency, what it actually feels like, what it looks like, right? Which would also make the previous reading make more sense if you understand the perspective at which you are looking at this world that is Draconian energy. So, to also just expand on this energy, like I said, see it as an embodiment type of energy, what it feels like in that state. And also, so I'm going to add to that. The draconian state of being, a lot of like what you guys call your guides starts to fall away. A lot of like maybe your ancestors, hold on. A lot of the ancestors that you've come to work with along the path also kind of like fall away. You start to understand that, okay, ne, embodiment involves you understanding more of what you are, more of your own template, more understanding that you are more than you are more than what your human template describes you as. And that has manifested through how you perceive your reality. It has manifested through your state of consciousness, which is how you perceive your reality. The way in which you see yourself has expanded through your experience of your own reality, how you see things, your thought patterns, your emotional patterns, how you feel through certain things. You understand the depth that you have is beyond the human template kind of depth. The way in which you experience your emotions and therefore process them, the way in which you experience your thoughts and therefore process them, the way in which you interact with the other, like, you know, your neighbors, your family, your friends, your lovers, the way in which you interact with yourself is a manifestation of an expansion of the human template. I don't want to say it's outside the human template. It's more of like an expansion of that. And so yeah, you tap into the part of yourself that is not just what the human template offers, but more. You tap into that which you have embodied. So which is ultimately an entity. I mean, iNzunza is a form of entity. You tap into the part of yourself that is an entity. Do you understand? You tap into the part of yourself that is more. I need to, that's what you guys said you wanted. Said you wanted more. So within embodiment, you tap into the part of yourself that is more. And that's what we call an entity. An entity is an entity because it operates from a template that is way more expanded than the human template. So much so that it makes it lighter. It makes it so that it's not dense. Because there's so much more to it, isn't it? An entity is connected to infinity. Infinity needs space to be. Hence the lightness of energy. or vibration, so to speak, to be able to move around more. I feel like I'm telling a story. You know, Red Riding Hood, when they're like, what big teeth you have. Like, the better to eat you, fam. What big eyes you have, the better to see you. What light energy you have, so I can move around better. So, yes, Draconian energy is also understanding the non-dualness of everything, how you are both the predator and the prey. And you're no longer in a state of duality where those parts of yourself are fighting for space. So it's almost like one part of yourself is trying to swallow up the other part of yourself. No, it's a balance. It's a state of balance. Because it's not you are predator or prey. You're something else that includes both of these. You are something else that incorporates the best of both worlds. Not leaving out the worst of both worlds, but you've incorporated both the worlds, and when you do that, it comes out as the best of both worlds. So back to where I had started with how you'll realize that a lot of your, like, what you refer to as your ancestors, as your guides, may begin to kind of fall away. And that's because you've absorbed them into what you are now. So it's not so much that they're not there. They're so much closer than you think now. They are you, essentially. You are them. They're a part of that which makes up what you are. And yes, you can say, but Zanne, they were always like that. Yeah, but boo, that's not how you perceived them. Perception is everything. That's not how you perceive them. You perceived them as the other. That's why we would say your ancestors or your guides say this. What do you say? Because these were two separate beings. But now there is the awareness of the unity. And that changes everything. You're aware of the unity because your state of consciousness allows for that, because the embodiment has occurred. And so the calibrating or the calibration of the human template together with the entity template, the union of these two brings about a being that realizes that it itself was always the guide. It was always the ancestor. It was always the teacher. It was always the entity. But it was not in a state of consciousness where it was able to carry that amount of power. The previous state of consciousness did not allow for infinity, did not have the space. It only allowed for these fractured aspects of the self as the other, not as the self. It could not take that. It would not allow it. Power was allowed as long as it belongs to another. The social conditioning did not allow for power to be claimed in a way in which the power can now be claimed, in a way that allows the current state of awareness, which is that it was you the whole time. It's always been you. That almost made me cry. I'm gonna pull some cards. all these cards are speaking to you as a state of being and not as a person. You've got the Smoky mirror that's speaking about the different fragments that make up who you are and how you personify those fragments, or you don't. I mean, but for this reading, how you personify those certain fragments, and you attach certain parts, certain aspects of yourself to certain deities, certain archetypes. It's the part of you that's being an architect. Sorry, it's the part of you that's being an architect, that is being a reality architect. It's the part of you that is the creator. And this also speaks to the importance of not just the ability to manifest, because I know that's like the biggest thing in the spiritual community. You must know how to manifest, you must know how to manifest. And that's why so many people's energies are imbalanced, in that your masculinity is like because that's your manifestation, but your feminine aspects are like can hardly be heard, because that's your ability to process your reality. And that's where expansion of consciousness happens. That's where the space is created, the depth is created. So that, remember I told you about that quote? I say it all the time about how if you create from that which you know, if you give your masculine aspect the job of creating the same thing all the time, I mean, yeah, obviously it's going to be a pro at it. It does it all the time. But if you expand that and it involves these other aspects that are unknown, then the manifestation, the masculine part of you, will create the most extraordinary things. Your life will be the stuff of dreams, stuff of fantasy books, but in real life. But if you keep telling your feminine aspect, like, that's not real, sit down, shut up, just cook and clean, then you're in trouble. All you'll create is babies, which there's nothing wrong with. Oh, babies are such a blessing. No, really, really. Really, really, I mean that. I was a baby at some point. My name actually means blessing. Not Uzan or Zanne. That's what you guys are meant to call me. And the laba bang balok bang bizang kameng abanika ngalona yazi nesibindi. Yazi nesibindi. Zan, Zanne, that's it. Sphelela lapho ungaloku ningibiza ngegama enginganika ngalona. Ebana. So, yeah, the journey's been real. But isn't it funny, right? They always tell you, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but like that state up until embodiment, that was the trailer. Now the movie starts. At embodiment. Now it starts. Now it starts. You thought that was the journey. No, the journey starts now. Now it starts. Now it starts. Because now you understand. It's been you the whole time. It's always been about you. This whole story is about you. Like, and now you go at it with all of your eyes open. And now you can properly experience it. Now you can properly feel it. Now you're no longer asking, what am I? Who am I? You get it. You're everything. You always have been. You're everything. Yeah. So that's what I have for you guys. If the reading resonated, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to book a personal reading or a mentorship session, that information is in the description box. It was a pretty high frequency reading. It's not meant to be understood the first time or the second time or the third time, but it's also meant to be understood in layers. So not everybody is gonna receive it the same way, just like all of the readings. I just don't want you guys to feel pressure into like, what the hell did she just say in this reading? The resonance, guys, that's why resonance is everything. You may not understand the concept, but you feel it in the part of you that doesn't need words. That part of you understands. Yeah. Okay, cool. Later.